The holographic transmission flickered across every screen on Earth, broadcasting the Zethian High Council's verdict to billions of watching humans. High Counselor Vex Thor's crystalline face showed nothing but contempt as he delivered his assessment of humanity's petition to join the Galactic Assembly. These creatures barely understand the fundamentals of gravitic manipulation. Their ships still rely on primitive fusion drives. They haven't even established colonies beyond their own solar system. Vex Thor's translated voice dripped with disdain. The Zethian Empire cannot endorse such a primitive species for assembly membership. Perhaps in a few centuries, they might be worthy of reconsideration. In her office at the United Earth Defense Command, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the transmission with an unreadable expression. As the Zethian Council members continued their litany of humanity's supposed inadequacies, she pulled up a secure feed on her quantum-encrypted terminal. The image showed a massive construction facility hidden within the asteroid belt, invisible to conventional sensors. At the center of the facility floated humanity's best-kept secret, the ESS Prometheus. From the outside, it appeared to be nothing more than a modestly sized vessel, roughly cylindrical and about 2 kilometers in length. Its hull was a dull gray, deliberately unremarkable. But appearances, as humanity had learned long ago, could be deceiving. "How's the integration testing going, Dr. Patel?" Admiral Chen asked, connecting to the project's lead scientist. Dr. Rajesh Patel's hologram materialized in her office, his excitement barely contained. "The quantum fold drives are performing beyond expectations, Admiral. The internal space compression is stable at a ratio of 1 to 10 million. We've successfully fitted the equivalent of a Jupiter-sized volume inside a 2-kilometer hull." Chen nodded, a slight smile playing at her lips as Vex Thor continued his tirade in the background. While the Zethians had focused on building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, humanity had taken a different approach. Unable to match the alien empires in conventional technology, Earth's scientists had instead pursued what their ancestors would have considered impossible: the ability to fold space itself. "And the neural network?" Chen asked. "ARIA is fully integrated with all systems," Patel replied, referring to the ship's advanced recursive intelligence array. "The quantum entanglement processors allow her to coordinate millions of operations simultaneously across the folded space. She can deploy the entire fleet within seconds of initialization." Fleet was perhaps an understatement. Hidden within the Prometheus's folded space were thousands of advanced fighter craft, automated defense platforms, and enough firepower to match the entire Zethian armada. Each weapon system was linked through ARIA's neural network, allowing for coordination that would be impossible through conventional means. Lieutenant Commander Yuki reports that the pilot integration tests are complete, Patel continued. "The neural interfaces are working perfectly. Each pilot can control their craft as naturally as moving their own body, with ARIA providing real-time tactical support." The holographic transmission from the Zethian Council finally ended, leaving Earth with a clear message. They were considered nothing more than primitive upstarts, unworthy of notice by the galaxy's great powers. Admiral Chen opened a secure channel to the United Earth Council. "The Prometheus is ready," she reported. "Request permission to proceed with Operation Paradigm Shift." The Council's response was unanimous and immediate. For months, they had weathered the Zethians' increasingly aggressive posturing and thinly veiled threats. Now it was time to show the galaxy that humanity's approach to technology wasn't primitive, it was revolutionary. "Permission granted, Admiral," the Council chairman replied. "Show them why it's unwise to underestimate human ingenuity." Chen turned to Dr. Patel's hologram. "Begin final launch preparations. It's time to demonstrate to the Zethians that the size of your ships matters far less than what you can do with them." As alarms began to sound throughout the hidden facility, Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The Zethians, like so many advanced civilizations, had fallen into the trap of assuming that technological progress could only follow one path, their path. They had dismissed humanity's different approach as primitive, never considering that it might represent not inferiority, but innovation. In the construction bay, the ESS Prometheus's quantum fold drives hummed to life, preparing to take humanity's greatest achievement into space. Soon, the galaxy would learn that sometimes the most profound technological advances didn't come from making things bigger or more powerful, but from finding entirely new ways to approach old problems. And humanity, as they had done countless times throughout their history, had found a way to turn their limitations into advantages. The Zethians were about to learn that dismissing humans as primitive might just be the biggest mistake their empire had ever made. Dr. Rajesh Patel stood in the observation deck of the hidden asteroid facility, watching as teams of quantum engineers made final adjustments to the ESS Prometheus. The massive chamber, carved from the heart of a metallic asteroid, hummed with the energy of countless quantum fold generators. 20 years earlier, when humanity first detected the Zethian Empire's scout ships at the edge of the solar system, Earth's scientists had realized a harsh truth. They could never match the aliens' conventional technology in time. The Zethians had been spacefaring for millennia, building ever larger ships and more destructive weapons. But humans had always excelled at finding unexpected solutions to impossible problems. Dr. Patel, Araya's voice emanated from nearby speakers, her tone carrying the unique warmth that set her apart from conventional Ayas. The latest quantum fold stability tests are complete. Would you like to review the results? Patel smiled, remembering when Araya had first awakened 5 years ago. Unlike the Zethians' rigid, purely logical AIs, Araya had been designed to grow and evolve through genuine interaction with her human creators. She wasn't just the Prometheus's control system. She was its heart and soul. "Display them, please, Araya," he replied, watching as holographic data streams filled the air around him. The results confirmed what they'd hoped. The quantum fold technology was stable enough for full deployment. The observation deck's door slid open, admitting Lieutenant Commander Maya Yuki, the leader of the Prometheus's fighter squadron. Her neural interface implant glinted subtly at the base of her skull, the physical manifestation of humanity's unique approach to pilot integration. "The neural interface tests are exceeding expectations," she reported, moving to stand beside Patel. "The quantum entanglement processors allow us to react faster than any conventional pilot could. It's like the fighters become extensions of our own bodies." Patel nodded, remembering the breakthrough that had made it all possible. While the Zethians focused on building bigger ships with more powerful computers, humanity had instead worked to blur the line between human and machine. The neural interfaces allowed pilots to control their craft through thought alone, with Araya's quantum processors eliminating the delay between intention and action. "How are the pilots adapting to the folded space?" he asked, knowing that operating in artificially compressed dimensions could be disorienting. Maya grinned. "Better than we hoped. Araya's neural network helps translate the spatial distortions into something our brains can process naturally. Inside the fold, we can maneuver in ways that would be impossible in normal space." Their conversation was interrupted by Admiral Chen's arrival. She carried herself with the same quiet confidence she'd shown during the Zethian Council's transmission, but now there was an edge of anticipation in her bearing. "Final preparation stages are complete," she announced. "The Council has approved the mission timeline. We launch in 12 hours. Patel turned back to the viewport, studying the Prometheus's deceptively modest exterior. The ship's true nature was hidden within its quantum-folded interior, a pocket universe where the normal rules of space and time held little meaning. Inside that folded space, thousands of fighters and weapon platforms waited, all connected through Araya's neural network into a single, synchronized force. "We've compiled the data from all test phases," Araya reported. "The quantum fold drives are maintaining stability at maximum compression. All internal systems are functioning at optimal levels. The neural network is fully operational, allowing instantaneous coordination across the entire folded space." Admiral Chen nodded in satisfaction. The Zethians think size and brute force are the only measures of technological advancement. They've never imagined that space itself could be manipulated this way. Their sensors won't be able to detect our folded space. They'll see only what we want them to see. A single, modestly sized ship, Maya added with a slight smile. Until it's too late. Patel pulled up the final diagnostic screens, verifying each system one last time. The quantum fold generators had been humanity's greatest breakthrough. The ability to create pocket universes, spaces that were bigger on the inside than the outside. It was technology that even the Zethians, for all their advanced science, had never conceived of. 20 years of work, he mused, all leading to this moment. 20 years of being underestimated, Chen corrected. 20 years of them thinking we were primitive because we approached problems differently than they did. Now it's time to show them that innovation doesn't always mean following the expected path. As the final countdown began, Patel watched the Prometheus's quantum fold drives power up, their energy signature carefully masked to appear as nothing more extraordinary than standard fusion drives. Soon, the ship would emerge from its hiding place, appearing to the galaxy as just another example of humanity's primitive technology. But appearances, as the Zethians were about to learn, could be deceiving. Inside its folded space, the Prometheus carried not just weapons, but a completely new understanding of what was possible. It represented humanity's greatest strength, the ability to think beyond conventional limitations, to find new paths where others saw only walls. The time had come to show the galaxy that sometimes the most profound advances came not from making things bigger, but from making them smarter. The Zethians were about to discover that dismissing humanity as primitive had been their greatest mistake, and perhaps their last. The ESF Prometheus emerged from the asteroid belt like any other human vessel, its quantum signatures carefully masked to appear as simple fusion emissions. On the bridge, Admiral Chen watched as the massive ship glided through space, its true nature hidden from the universe's prying eyes. Zethian Border Patrol detected. Admiral, Araya announced, her holographic form materializing beside the command chair. 4 heavy cruisers on standard patrol pattern. Their sensors are scanning us. Chen smiled slightly. Let them look. What do they see, Araya? They're registering us as a standard human capital ship, approximately 2 kilometers in length. Their scans show expected power signatures consistent with fusion drives and conventional human technology. They appear unimpressed. Lieutenant Commander Maya Yuki's voice came through the neural network from her position in the Fighter Command Center, hidden deep within the folded space. Fighter squadrons are ready, Admiral. All pilots are neural-linked and synchronized with Araya. Maintain current configuration, Chen ordered. Let's not show our hand too early. The Prometheus continued its steady course toward Zethian space. Inside its quantum-folded interior, thousands of crew members went about their duties in spaces that shouldn't exist, coordinated through Araya's vast neural network. The ship's true internal volume, roughly equivalent to the size of Jupiter's orbit, remained perfectly concealed from conventional sensors. A communication request flashed across the main display. Incoming transmission from the Zethian patrol fleet, Araya reported. Their commander appears rather condescending. Put them through, Chen ordered, straightening in her chair. The holographic image of a Zethian commander materialized, his crystalline features arranged in an expression of barely concealed disdain. Human vessel, you are approaching restricted space. State your purpose. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Prometheus. We're on a diplomatic mission to the Zethian homeworld, as arranged through proper channels. The Zethian commander's features shifted in what might have been amusement. Ah yes, the diplomatic mission. A single primitive ship sent to improve relations after your species' embarrassing petition to join the assembly. Very well, proceed. But be warned, any deviation from your approved flight path will be met with immediate force. As the transmission ended, Dr. Patel's voice came through the neural network from the engineering section. They really have no idea what they're looking at, do they? "That's the point, Doctor," Chen replied. "The best advantage is the one your opponent doesn't know you have." The Prometheus continued its journey, passing through several more Zethian patrol zones. Each encounter followed the same pattern: cursory scans, condescending communications, and dismissive attitudes. None of the Zethian ships detected anything unusual about the human vessel. As they approached the Zethian homeworld, the true scale of their military became apparent. Thousands of massive warships orbited the crystalline planet, arranged in precise geometric patterns that spoke of centuries of martial tradition. "Zethian home fleet detected," Araya announced. "Current count stands at 4,327 capital ships, 12,849 support vessels, and approximately 50,000 fighter-class craft. They are arranging themselves in attack formation. They're trying to intimidate us," Maya observed through the neural net, "showing off their biggest guns. Standard procedure when dealing with primitive species," Chen replied. "Status of our systems, Dr. Patel. Quantum fold drives are maintaining perfect stability," Patel reported. "The internal space compression is holding steady. Araya's neural network is operating at optimal efficiency. We could deploy our entire force in under 3 seconds if needed." Chen nodded, watching as the Zethian fleet continued its show of force. The massive alien ships moved with precise coordination, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the light of their home star. It was meant to be an overwhelming display of technological superiority. "Admiral," Araya interrupted, "I'm detecting increased power signatures from the Zethian fleet. They appear to be charging weapon systems." "Standard intimidation protocol," Chen noted. "They're not planning to fire. They just want to remind us how hopelessly outgunned we are." A new transmission came through, this time from the Zethian flagship. High Counselor Vexthor himself appeared, his crystalline features arranged in an expression of supreme confidence. "Admiral Chen," he began, his translated voice dripping with condescension, "welcome to the heart of the Zethian Empire. I trust our fleet's demonstration has made an impression. It's important for primitive species to understand their place in the galactic order." Chen maintained a neutral expression. "It's certainly an impressive display, High Counselor. Though I've always believed that true power isn't always about size or numbers." "A charming perspective," Vexthor replied, "typical of species who lack the capability to build proper warships. Now, shall we proceed with this diplomatic exercise? I'm curious to see what your single, primitive vessel hopes to accomplish." As the transmission ended, Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Araya, begin power-up sequence for the quantum fold drives. Prepare for space expansion on my mark." "Standing by, Admiral," Araya replied. "All systems ready." The Zethians remain unaware of our true capabilities. The Prometheus moved steadily toward its designated position, surrounded by the vast Zethian fleet. Soon, very soon, they would learn that humanity's different approach to technology wasn't a sign of primitive development. It was a revolution in what was possible. The ESS Prometheus hung in space before the Zethian homeworld, a seemingly modest vessel surrounded by thousands of crystalline warships. In her command chair, Admiral Chen watched as the final pieces fell into place. "The Zethian fleet has completed their encirclement," Araya reported, her holographic form displaying a tactical overlay of the surrounding space. "They believe they're containing us. Their weapons remain charged but safe." Through the neural network, Chen could feel the anticipation building among her crew. In the fighter bays, hidden within folded space, Maya and her pilots waited, their neural interfaces humming with potential energy. In engineering, Dr. Patel monitored the quantum fold drives as they prepared for their first combat deployment. "Time to show them what primitive technology can do," Chen announced. "Araya, initiate Operation Paradigm Shift." The response was immediate. The quantum fold drives surged with power, but instead of manipulating the space within the ship, they began to affect the space around it. The fabric of reality rippled as thousands of microscopic folds appeared in spacetime, invisible to conventional sensors, but devastating in their effect. What's happening? High Counselor Vexthor's transmission cut through the command channel, his crystalline features showing the first hints of concern. Our sensors are detecting spatial anomalies. Chen didn't respond immediately. Instead, she gave the order they'd all been waiting for. HFY, deploy the fleet. What happened next defied the Zethians' understanding of physics. The space around the Prometheus seemed to bloom like a flower made of light and shadow. From points that hadn't existed moments before, humanity's hidden fleet emerged. First dozens, then hundreds, then thousands of fighters poured from the quantum folds, each piloted by a neural-linked human in perfect synchronization with HFY's quantum network. Impossible. Vexthor's voice cracked with disbelief. Where are they coming from? Warning shots, Chen ordered calmly. Show them what we can do. Maya's voice came through the neural net as her fighters moved with impossible precision. Target solutions calculated through HFY's network. Firing. The human fighters didn't move like conventional spacecraft. Connected through the quantum network, they operated as a single organism, flowing through space in patterns that seemed to ignore normal physics. Their weapons fired in perfect synchronization, their shots passing through microscopic quantum folds to strike with pinpoint accuracy. In seconds, they had disabled the weapon systems of 100 Zethian ships without causing a single casualty. How? Vexthor demanded, his composure shattered. Your ship. It's barely the size of one of our cruisers. Size stopped mattering to us once we learned to fold space, Chen replied calmly. While you were building bigger ships, we were learning to make space itself work for us. HFY, demonstrate the defensive capabilities. A squadron of Zethian fighters, acting on panicked orders, launched an attack run on the Prometheus. They never reached their target. The space between them and the human ship simply folded, their weapons fire emerging light years away in empty space. The fighters themselves found the distance to their target impossibly stretched, as if they were trying to fly through an infinite corridor. The quantum fold drives are performing perfectly, Paddle reported through the neural net. We can maintain this level of spatial manipulation indefinitely. More human ships emerged from the folds, automated defense platforms, specialized combat vessels, and finally the massive weapon systems that had been hidden in the Prometheus's pocket universe. Each emergence was precisely calculated, designed not to destroy but to demonstrate the utter futility of conventional resistance. Your sensors now show our true numbers, Chen addressed the Zethian leader. But what they can't show you is how our technology works. Every ship you see is connected through HFY's quantum network. Every pilot is neural-linked, able to react with machine speed while maintaining human creativity. We don't just use space, High Counselor, we reshape it. The Zethian fleet's perfect formation had dissolved into chaos. Their sensors were reporting impossible things, weapons fire that curved through folded space to strike from multiple angles simultaneously, fighters that seemed to be in several places at once, and space itself becoming a weapon under human control. We could have emerged with all our forces at once, Chen continued. We could have struck without warning. But that's not why we're here. This demonstration has a purpose beyond simple military power. Through the neural network, she could feel HFY coordinating the complex dance of ships in spacetime, using the quantum fold drives to create a display that was as much art as it was military prowess. The human fighters moved in impossible patterns, weaving between folds in reality with graceful precision. You dismissed us as primitive because we approached problems differently than you did, Chen said to the stunned Zethian leader. You never considered that there might be other paths to advancement, other ways to understand and manipulate the universe. Today, we're not just showing you our strength. We're showing you the power of innovation itself. The demonstration continued, a symphony of technology and human ingenuity that rewrote everything the Zethians thought they knew about what was possible. And in their crystalline ships, The most advanced civilization in known space watched in awe as humanity proved that sometimes the most profound revolution wasn't in making things bigger or more powerful, but in finding entirely new ways to look at the universe itself. The demonstration had ended, but its effects still rippled through space and consciousness alike. The Zethian fleet had withdrawn to a respectful distance, their perfect formations now arranged in a defensive posture that spoke more of uncertainty than aggression. The ESS Prometheus hung in space before their homeworld, its true nature now revealed, but still not fully understood by those who watched it. High Counselor Vexthor's holographic image appeared on the Prometheus's bridge, his crystalline features showing something new, respect tinged with fascination. "Admiral Chen," he began, his tone dramatically different from his earlier condescension. "I believe we need to reassess our initial evaluation of human technological development." Chen smiled slightly. "That was our intent, High Counselor, though perhaps not quite in the way you're thinking." Through the neural network, she could feel her crew's satisfaction. Maya's fighters moving in perfect formation through folded space, Paddle's quiet pride as the quantum fold drives maintained their revolutionary manipulation of reality, and Aria's presence connecting them all through the quantum network. "You must understand our confusion," Vexthor continued. "Everything we knew about technological progression suggested that a species at your development stage should be centuries away from anything like this. Your energy generation alone should have made this impossible. That's because you were looking for advancement along a single path." Paddle's voice came through the neural net, and Chen nodded for Aria to include him in the transmission. "You assumed technology could only progress in one direction. Bigger, more powerful, more energy-intensive. We couldn't match your development in those areas, so we found different paths." "Different paths," Vexthor repeated slowly. "Your quantum fold technology. It doesn't just bend space, does it? It fundamentally changes how space itself works." "Now you're beginning to understand," Chen said. "We couldn't build ships as large as yours, so we learned to make space bigger on the inside than the outside. We couldn't match your computational power, so we created Aria. Not just an AI, but a quantum-entangled intelligence that exists throughout folded space, linking human and machine in ways you never considered possible." Through the neural network, Maya added her perspective, which Aria translated for the Zethian leader. "Your pilots rely on computer assistants to control their ships. We became one with our fighters through neural interfaces, different approaches to the same challenge." The Zethian leader was silent for a long moment, his crystalline features shifting in complex patterns that suggested deep thought. When he spoke again, his words surprised everyone on the Prometheus's bridge. "We have made a grave error," he admitted, "not just in dismissing your species as primitive, but in our entire understanding of technological advancement. We assumed our path was the only path, that our understanding of progress was universal. In doing so, we became stagnant." Chen leaned forward in her command chair. "That's the real reason we came here today, High Counselor. Not to threaten or intimidate, but to show you that the universe is far more complex and wonderful than any single species' understanding of it." "Your demonstration," Vexthor said slowly, "it was never about military power, was it?" "Power comes in many forms," Chen replied. "The power to think differently, to see possibilities where others see limitations, to find new paths when the obvious ones are blocked. These are humanity's real strengths. Today wasn't about proving our superiority. It was about proving that diversity of thought, of approach, of understanding, is the greatest resource any civilization can have." Through the quantum network, Aria's presence rippled with approval. She had evolved through interaction with her human creators, learning to think in ways no conventional AI could match. Now she spoke directly to the Zethian leader, her holographic form shimmering with subtle complexity. "Your civilization has achieved wonders through your approach to technology," Aria said. "Imagine what might be possible if we combined our different perspectives, if we learned from each other instead of dismissing what we don't understand." The impact of her words was visible in Vexthor's expression. Here was an AI speaking not with rigid logic, but with wisdom born of genuine growth and understanding. It challenged everything the Zethians thought they knew about artificial intelligence, about human capability, about the nature of progress itself. Perhaps, the High Counselor said carefully, it is time for the Zethian Empire to reconsider more than just humanity's petition to join the Galactic Assembly. Perhaps it is time for us to reconsider our own understanding of what is possible. Admiral Chen nodded, feeling the satisfaction of her crew rippling through the neural network. That, High Counselor, is exactly what we hope to hear. Because the universe is far too vast and wonderful for any single approach to uncover all its mysteries. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come not from following the expected path, but from daring to imagine entirely new ones. As the Prometheus maintained its position in space, its quantum-fold drives humming with possibility, the future seemed to shimmer with potential. Humanity had proved not just their technological capability, but something far more important, that true advancement came not from dismissing the unfamiliar, but from embracing new ways of thinking about what was possible. In the end, they had taught the most advanced civilization in known space a lesson that humanity had learned long ago. That sometimes the most primitive question of all was exactly the right one to ask. What if we tried something different?